Hey everyone, it's your boy Eric Coffee, GovCon Giants of the GovCon Giants podcast. Welcome to another Wednesday episode of Why You Don't Have a Contract. And today we are discussing, are you procurement ready? How many people out there think they are procurement ready? So, first and foremost, let's do a couple things. We're working on some unique projects out there, and I want everyone to go to my Twitter page and follow me, please, on Twitter. We have just shy of 1,000 followers on Twitter. I want to get that up to 5,000 followers on Twitter. So if you can, if you are on Twitter, Tam Reed, what's up? Uh, Follow me on Twitter. Coffee is the name. GovCon Eric. So she says, "Good afternoon. It's 7 p.m. Eastern time where I'm at." Gilbert, yes, you were first. Today we're discussing why you don't have a contract. 15 people watching. My man Mo. Mo, I'm ready to see you, baby. Why you don't have a contract? Are you procurement ready? Let's discuss that today. We're definitely gonna be asking for folks to come up to the stage and speak. Tam's in Colorado. Were you skiing, Tam? You out there skiing? What you doing in Colorado with all this cold weather? Chris Diggs, your device is not connected yet. I dropped my StreamYard chat in there. We're going to be bringing people up to talk. In fact, Tam, you were the first person that showed me how to do that on StreamYard, where you brought your audience up to speak. So thank you for that, as always, teaching me some stuff. Uh, if you're new to my channel, when we go live, we like to ask our audience to put in the chat their company name, the industry they're in, and the city that they're from. If you guys can all do that now, that'd be wonderful, because as we are speaking, um, we would definitely want to talk to you out there. We want to speak to, if there's something that comes up that I can make a reference to a particular industry, that'd be great. So, oh, shoot. You moved last weekend? Get out of town. Get out of Dodge. So if you're listening right now, do me a favor, drop that in the chat. Let us know exactly your industry, your city, and also your name, so we can definitely shout you out as well. And also, when we're speaking about the subject today, we can let you, we can talk about specific items, and maybe we'll come across something that affects you. Chris Diggs, by the way, we are asking guests to come up to the stage. So we definitely want to talk to real folks out here, and we're asking people to come up. I dropped the in the chat. I dropped in there the StreamYard link, so you can click that link and come on here. I'll drop it in as well. And we're going to be calling people up, taking a look at your business, and seeing if in fact you are procurement ready. I've only seen a couple people tell us what they do. Tamra, Tam Logistics LLC. Chris White, 1624 Trucking. Nadia, Timely Transportation, Wake Forest, North Carolina. Nadia follows instructions. Thank you. Gilbert, Sons Procurement, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Office and Warehouse Supplies and Equipment. Very nice. Man, Sean Jones, Unbeatable ROI, Video Production, Marketing, Advertising, New York City. Very nice. So I keep dropping it in there. By the way, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, please, because that's how the YouTube gods reward us, is through thumbs, likes, and shares. So make sure you all do that. If you're not already following the channel, make sure you're following the channel and turn it on, because while I would love to do this every single Wednesday, unfortunately, I'm trying to do 1,000 things at once. So just want to do that. Chris Diggs says your device is not connected. We're still waiting for Chris to come up on stage. And if anybody else wants to come up on stage and discuss their business and talk to me directly, feel free. I just dropped the StreamYard link inside of the chat. Looking forward to some volunteers coming up so we can talk to them about their business to see if they're in fact they're procurement ready and why they don't have contracts. Last week was a great session, so I'm looking forward to some good stuff this week as well. I only saw about 5 people tell me what they do. What do the rest of you do out there? Remember this, everything that we do here, this is consider it this to be interactive show, interactive program. So it's only be as good as the people who interact with it. I know people love want to see me sit up here and just speak for about an hour, um, which I've done a lot, but I really wanted to talk to the audience and I want to look at specific examples, specific people, situations. And I think that's the best way for us to learn is through one another. So I really would like for someone, I like to use someone as a case study to help make a determination whether or not what's going on in their business and see how we can help them. Last week we had YC Lawson, and it's fascinating because YC Lawson was also a trucking company. Um, and we had a chance to go in, look at her capability statement, review that, look at her SBA profile, review that. And so she was able to make some changes immediately based on the recommendations that we gave. So I'd love to do the same thing with, because I think that it's really helpful when you see other people and you can see what they're doing. And a lot of times when you're looking through that lens, it makes it easier for you to understand like as well. Like let's say, oh, you know what? I made that same mistake. So again, that's what I like to do ideally. So we're looking for, all right, here we go. Tamara Blunston, Tam Logistics, over the road, freight transportation, Richmond, Texas. Thank you. Love it. All right. So yeah, so for me, that's ideally what I like to do. Give me a second. I'm still looking. There's 19 people watching. I probably shouted out 5 people. Remember, this is, next week is the SBA's, the 8A, not SBA. I made a mistake. Next week is the 8A conference put on by National 8A Association. And there are a gazillion people going to be there. And what's interesting about that, let me pull it up. I'll share my screen while people keep dropping in the chat. What is it that you do? Tell us again your name, your city, and the industry that you're in. And we're looking for volunteers to step up to the plate. We are looking for volunteers. Are you kidding me? Chrome has lost permission. Are you kidding me? Yo, Tam Reed, what's up with Chrome having me have to reset my permissions in order to share my screen? That was ridiculous. All right, we're still looking for volunteers. And I'm fixing my permissions on my Chrome. I don't know what happened. Privacy, system promises, privacy. All right. I'm gonna keep talking. Next week is the 8A conference, and at the 8A conference, okay, I'm almost there. I wish you guys could see this. The luxuries of technology. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it doesn't work. Maria, why you can't get any of your people to come up to the stage? Tam Reed, why you can't get your people to come up to the stage? Everybody wants to talk to me in private. When it comes time to come on stage and put it out there, nobody wants to come on stage. Okay. Interesting. It says I can share here. All right. Let's see. We have somebody up here. All right. Natia Ridges, you got to connect your mic and your camera before coming up stage. Chris Diggs, Keystone System Technologies, Kernersville, North Carolina, San Diego, California. Custom application design, CRM, cloud-based, cloud backup systems, call center services, digital media, and web development. Chris, you sound like a busy person. I do not know why this thing is not allowing me to share my screen, and it's really bugging me. There we go. All right. We can see you, Chris.
Okay, cool.
Now we can hear you.
Okay.
Look at that. Let's put Chris up on there. First of all, Chris, thank you for being brave and being the first one to come on here. Can you hear me?
It's a little quiet, but yeah, I can hear you.
I wonder what happened.
You know what? I think I got YouTube and this going at the same time.
Yes, you're gonna have to turn down the YouTube.
There we go.
All right.
Okay.
So, Chris, you there?
Yes.
All right. Welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Doing great.
Yeah. All right. Now you put Kernersville, North Carolina, and San Diego, California.
As you can tell by the light out, I guess out here, this is San Diego right here. Matter of fact, right there, you see that building right there. You can see that. That is the VA. I'm literally right beside them, the county buildings and everything. Right over here. I've been trying to work with, some people over there and whatnot, talking them up and this kind of thing, this, that, and the other. So I'm working on doing a lot of stuff with the county over here and getting involved with a lot of their programs, getting training and such.
Okay. So tell us. I mean, we have on there custom application development, CRM, cloud backup systems. I mean, that's a handful. What kind of projects are you working on now?
Okay, so we have two intranet systems that we're working on that basically custom manages a number of the businesses' workflows and how they interact with their employees and such. And then we also have a more of a vanilla flavor, but still can be catered around to each customer's flow. So it's really designed to their flow, but it's more canned for a CRM product that we also do as well. That's called Project Creately that we run as well. So we've got that running. We also do a number of digital product sales as well too, but that's kind of more of a B2C side.
Okay.
So for our B2B side, we're doing these other items such as CRM and the cloud backup systems with cybersecurity, call center services, digital media marketing, social media management, web development, graphic design.
Now,
so we have a number of employees, a number of contractors that we use to get all this stuff done.
Which is important.
Yes, you got to have a team.
You got to have a team. So tell me, where are you needing help at? Where are you finding challenges? Where are you finding issues? I've got some other thoughts, but just so we, everyone, like, kind of, what's the idea? What are you thinking? Where are you coming up short?
I think more on past performance. We've really grown over the last year and a half. I mean, we've actually more than 10x over the last year and a half.
Okay.
So I now have hired a CFO to help us kind of look more toward the future and see how many more employees can we bring on with our current revenue, and then growing that revenue so we can continue to grow in the areas that we're looking to grow upon. So I thought that was one of the biggest things. So we can kind of go over the little bit bigger contracts and whatnot in the commercial sector to get some of that past performance to help us in the government sector.
Now, let me ask you this. The first thing that you said was manage workflows. Do you consider yourself MSP?
Not well. I don't consider ourselves that, but we kind of do everything custom for what the client needs. So, but I guess we could be.
No, and again, I'm asking because um, these are terms that the people that I work with understand.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you say manage workflow and custom content, that could be anything, right? But if and I'll tell you why. So, for example, right off the top of my head, if you're managing clients' accounts and you said you're doing cloud backup systems um, and managing their workflows, um, if you're doing cloud back, how much harder would it be for you to? And again, I don't want you to do any other separate business. I'm just thinking, how much harder would it be for you to do that since you already have these connections with these clients? Like you're already in their space.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
That's
make
a good
sense?
thought.
You already have
Yeah.
customers. And I'll tell you why. I have a podcast guest that's coming on really soon. We're scheduled for February, and he's got a lot of private equity money behind him, and he's got a rollout strategy for rolling up MSPs. And so, if you were an MSP, then that would be very attractive for people like that who are looking at acquiring MSPs across the country and taking on. I mean, right now, his MSP company has 150 employees, and his other company has 600 employees. So, and he's got a lot of capital. And so they're looking for those kind of businesses. There's a couple of examples that I can give you from podcast guests that I've had on here. Sarah Dunn, if you look at that company, Sarah Dunn, the Capital Group. All right, they're an MSP. They actually, shortly after they were on my show, they were acquired for about, I think it was 40 million.
Wow.
So let's
okay.
And then I had someone on here 3 weeks ago, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's out in California. Does anyone know the podcast guest I had that did 350 million in contracts? I'm sure somebody will find it. I'll get her name for you. I would listen to that episode because I think that, for you in particular, when you're trying to do, when you're trying to get in, do you have any? So let's talk about your kind of contracts that you have now. You have private clients, and you said state contracts.
No, not state contracts. I have a couple of county contracts I'm trying to close on. At this point, that's the only government contracts that we're close on closing.
Okay. So I think what's happening, what I'm listening to, the custom application development stuff is tough. Cloud for the government, you already know, like who's got all the cloud service contracts. You're like those are the big boys. Call center is needed. Martha Daniel, there you go. Martha Daniel, thank you, CKOK. That's it. Martha Daniel, that's the episode you want to listen to.
Okay.
Martha Daniel. All right. Listen to Martha Daniel. Look at Sarah Dunn. Look at their company and see what they do. And also, I would look at other MSPs in the IT space, see what they do, because I think that you guys, if you're already in these customers' doors, you can pretty much service them. Like it wouldn't be hard for you to add like these additional services, right? To tag along. And I'm going to give you, hold on. And I'm going to send you, gosh, what's the name of that company? Jeez. It's one other company. Oh, I got to think of it. Give me a second. All I want you to do, and this is what I tell people, and when we talk about, okay, so a lot of, even you've got a great business, right? So you're doing your business and you're growing, like you said, you 10 extra business, which is incredible. Big ups to you. I think what happens is a lot of folks, we have to understand how to change or make the business look more like a government type of business, the way that you get me? The way that they're used to acquiring things and purchasing things. And so I think that's where you are like kind of missing the boat, is just in like how you state it and how you position it, right? And so when people are looking at how to hire your business or hire your company, they don't know how to hire you right now.
Right.
And so I'm listening to you, and so I'll give you another example here. You're making me go to my notes. I was just on with Austin Johnson, who is the head of the Marine Corps Systems Command, and he's going to be we did an interview this week, but he's going to be on in a couple weeks. And part of what they do is they have 2,500 employees, right? They've got 200 contracting officers, 200 program managers. And so the stuff that you're talking about, they could use your services to do, application development. However, they're buying it on vehicles, and they're buying it from vendors. So for example, if you're doing, that if you're doing any type of application that touches the cloud, they want you to go through FedRAMP. You heard of that?
Yes.
Okay. So, and most applications you're developing are probably going to touch the cloud, right? And so FedRAMP's kind of got a stronghold on the marketplace when we're looking at federal. And even though FedRAMP is not a certification or a regulation, it is suggested or recommended, and it's used to give you credibility. So when you mention that, the first thing someone's going to tell you, well, are you FedRAMP? And you're like, well, no, I can't get FedRAMP because I develop custom applications. And then they're going to ask you, well, are you working with someone that's FedRAMP? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there is where you'll find a challenge when it comes to the federal government, especially if you're doing any type of custom application that goes to the cloud. At the state level and the local level, GSA is trying to encourage the state the state entities to use GSA schedules for these types of services now. They're trying to encourage them. They're saying that we've got scale, because of our scale, we can do cost savings. What I would suggest is since you have such a strong business, I guarantee you there's people that are already on these schedules that could use your expertise. Guarantee it. I know people that have GSA schedule and have no contracts. What I would do if I were you, I learned something. You don't give people advice. You tell them what you would do, right? So what I would do is I would look at GSA schedule for whether it's cloud backup systems or whatever ones that you're the best at. I would look at a GSA schedule and find companies on that schedule who are not winning contracts.
Okay.
And I would reach out to them and I would say, hey, we do this right now in the private sector. We do it very well. We have, whatever, we've done X dollars, and we really think that we could leverage your schedule to get more contracts for both of us. And I would then, with that relationship, go back to the states and say, hey, I have this GSA schedule that's already approved, which gives you validity and credibility. So it'll be as if you have government past performance.
I see. Right. Okay.
Because the schedule, you don't need contracts on the schedule. Just being on a schedule validates your company. Because it's a federal schedule. So that automatically validates your company.
Gotcha.
Okay. So those are a couple things that I thought I could think of off the top of my head. Call center services. We've had 3 or 4 people on this show that does call center services. It's that one. What's her name? The lady's out of Maine. I've never worked with call center services. I'm trying to think. I've seen more need for staffing than anything else, just from my experiences. So I don't really have any recommendations for call center services other than we've had like 2 of our guests on here, Mary Corn and what's her name out of Maine? I can see her now. Blonde lady out of Maine. Yeah, we had 2 guests. Huh? Savvy Links. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why not reach out to her? Have you ever reached out to her?
Kind of, sort of. We kind of competed on a couple contracts.
Yeah, but you don't have. But why not see if you can support her?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Listen, you don't have to compete with her. See if you can support her. Tell her you know me.
Okay.
I would not. I mean, the thing is, you got to get your foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Ask her how to support her. You know what? Maybe it's look in construction. We don't have no 2 qualms about it. We will literally we'll bid on the same project as you, and then if you win it, we'll reach out to you and say, "Hey, congratulations! I know you won that project. We have all the numbers. Like I've got the numbers. I've got people and teams. Maybe we can help you." And I'll tell you why, Chris. Because one of my guys, Cesar Nadar, when I went to go visit him, he does IT. Mm-hmm. He had several contracts that he did not have people to place on them for staffing. He couldn't find the people. He couldn't find them. And if you've got the lay of the land out where you're located, right, and you're in San Diego, or wherever you're headed, if you got more experience, I know that they're having trouble finding companies out of Huntsville, Alabama, small businesses from Huntsville. We don't have we do not feel bad if someone calls us and said, "Hey, you won that contract. Well, I've got this pricing, I got this price, I got this price already." Since I reviewed it and you competed with me, then you know the requirements of the contract. Mm-hmm. You more so than a person who's a stranger who I'm trying to, get to convince to come and work with me, right? Who's never read it, who doesn't understand it, who does, you actually read it and understand it. And so you're like, "Hey, I know the whole requirements." And then you could spit it back to her and see if you can help support her. Maybe you can put 5 people on it.
Right. Right.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Because some things need some speciality, and sometimes that can be a little hard to have all shifts covered with that speciality. Yeah,
it's tough to find. It's tough. All of us are humans. We have our insecurities, right? And even people who we look at as like, "Oh, this person's got whatever, however many employees," they still have insecurities. And until you reach out and call them and offer to help, you will never know. Like you said, you will never know that. And again, we set up a call with her in a podcast, and she was very nice, very forthcoming. I know she's had some ups and downs in her business. So to me, that makes her a very understanding owner. And so I can see her being a good partner to someone. Just based on knowing her story of her, of where she was at, and she lost her business. Her business was taken away from her first business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you should listen to her episode. And then that way you can talk about that, because she had a staffing company that did really well. It blew up, and she was super young. And then she brought like a CEO and some advisors, like board members, and they booted her out the company. Mm-hmm. And then she ended up in debt and bankrupt. Like it just, and so this was her. So what you see now is her second time around.
Wow. Yeah. If she was the primary owner of that company, this is just some things I found out, doing business over time. You can add in your bylaws that certain people cannot be removed from office, especially if you're the owner and president. You can add it to your bylaws, and then that.
But again, when she had, if you listen to her episode, she had success at a very young age. Mm-hmm. So she didn't, we didn't know. I'm sure if there's 37 people watching, I'm sure that half of them don't know that.
Yeah. Whatever I'm saying, but if all these 37 people and any others watching them, they know that that's a possibility, to think about that.
Right. Chris, listen, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming up, brother.
No problem. Appreciate it.
Listen, let us know how you progress. I definitely want to hear how you progress. I already know some of the stuff is going to work for you. I don't even, awesome. In fact, if you need an 8A, we've got someone out there that we can refer you to. If you come across something where they say you need an 8A, we've got someone out there that's willing, ready, and able to help support you.
Awesome.
If that'll help you get over the hump. Okay.
All right, I'll be looking.
Send Maria an email and let her know, and we can connect you with our person that's out there. Okay. We've got two people out there that I think would be a good match. If that would help you to better position yourself to get contracts.
Awesome.
All right. Hey man.
Thanks a lot, Eric.
Chris, thank you for coming up, brother. Thank you for being the first one as always. I appreciate you.
No
All right.
All
be
right.
good. Thanks. Bye. All right. So before we bring up our next guest, Natia Ridges. So by the way, my man CK, I appreciate you. And I appreciate people that are actually listening and paying attention. That's awesome. So we've got folks out here who are actually watching the episodes and learning from it. And I hope you're benefiting from this stuff. Earlier, when we first came on, like we said, make sure you put in here what it is that you do, your city. Let's look at Joe Profit, Slidell, Louisiana, consultant, corporations, life insurance. Good stuff. Everybody needs life insurance. You better have some life insurance. I could talk about how we utilize hardworking 8As at our company. Nice. Let's see. Demi Moore with Moore Dispatching LLC. ARW Detailing, Automobile Detailing, Montgomery. What else? Queen Lee, Vet Right, Sharper New Acts, LLC, Business Development Consulting, Strategy, Process Improvement. All right. 41 people. Keep telling us in the chat your industry that you're in. Let us know the city that you're from and the name of your business. And let's keep talking. Freddie Game says, what kind of coach should I go with? I don't understand it, Freddie. All right. Angelica from Texas Construction. Not sure what coach should fit me. What do you mean by what coach, Angelica? Please clarify. All right, let's bring up our next guest, Natia Ridges. Hey, Natia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Where are you located?
I'm in Wake Forest, North Carolina.
Oh, you're Wake Forest, North Carolina.
Yep.
You're the one that said trucking.
Yes.
We always have a lot of trucking people come on here.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What I did was, I've been in business. This will be my 6th year. Yep. So, but during COVID, when there was a need for trucking, I elected to shut down. I had done some federal contracting, did with,
really?
I had gotten, my backstory was, when I went into trucking, I knew it was a need for minorities, women. There were some opportunities. I also knew there were some struggles in the industry. So I knew it was going to be a difficult industry. And I started growing and expanding. And when I ran into a driver issue, I decided to back off and revamp. And then COVID hit. So during COVID, I just helped other people do their development. I was in the process of doing my 8A, getting all my certification. I just chose to sit idle, just just to be safe. Just because when I wanted to come out the gate this time, I didn't want all those pitfalls from before.
Okay.
So my question now is, I'm ready to get back in the game. Should I worry about, I was service disabled veteran. Should I worry about getting my certifications? Should I, pursue my 8A? What should I do at this point to get back in the game? Because also now I have some joint partners that are interested in partnering with me and helping me grow my trucking. Because it's a hard industry trying to carry it on your back alone. So now I have people that we're ready, and I've helped them get certain things, and they're like, how can we help you re-enter the game?
Nice. If you're a veteran, and this is to everyone out there listening, if you're a veteran, I definitely encourage you to get your SDVOSB. because
Okay.
it's really easy to get it, and you deserve it. Thank you for your service. And also, it's just there. A lot of states now are recognizing CVE or VOSB. A lot they're being recognized by states in addition to the federal government. So I would definitely encourage you to get it because it's not unlike the other certifications. Um, 8A is a process, and for 8A, I always tell people wait until the government asks you for 8A. Like wait until they
Oh,
say,
wow.
yeah. I don't encourage people to get 8A until the government, until you're out there and a particular client says, "Hey, Nadia, if you only had 8A, we would give you these contracts, right?" And then that's at that point where I encourage people to get their 8A because 9 times out of 10, you're going to waste the first half of it trying to figure out how to use it. And
Okay.
until like if you were and where you were in that position where you already had those contracts before,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that particular position, then I would be like, nah, it's time to get your 8A. Like you're ready. And if you've got a year in a game or 2 years in a game and you've done some contracts, you've worked with several agencies, boom, jump on your 8A. But right now, just if you're just re-entering back into the marketplace from scratch, get your SDVOSB. It's nothing to do, right? That's pretty easy. You got your papers, you got your docs, you just file for it. And then if you have a strong team already, then now the team that you have, let's talk about your team that wants to help you build your business. How are they going to help you? Are they going to give you trucks? Are they giving you drivers? What are they? Everything.
Trucks and drivers giving me that back office support that I was having to manage by myself. So
Okay.
they're like, where I was going out buying, signing on the dotted line, get my own equipment. Even though I was doing it the way where you have my contract, it's just still, it was foreign to see a female. I mean, I'm just saying it was just hard to go in there with a contract and they still understand why I needed a truck. So I was having to do a lot of stuff on my personal, on my own.
Sure.
And so and the backtrack on the SDVO, I just need to be recertified because it expired during COVID. I just need to recertify.
That's
Yeah.
easy.
But anyway, so the back office help that I was looking for prior to I going idle, those people are like, how can we help you? Because you helped us during this
Right.
period.
Sure.
So yeah.
Well, we have there's a couple things that I come to my mind. One girl, one truck. She grew out her business through FEMA contracts.
Okay.
That's always a huge market. I mean, I think to me right now, trucking is so needed that you could throw a stone any direction. Like I don't really see, like, to me,
Yeah.
I don't see how you can't find work as in this space in trucking. I really don't, because everyone needs trucks. If you have trucks right now, you could go to Crowley and they'll subcontract you out lanes. Last week we had somebody on here, YC Lawson, who's got some routes with Amazon. I think she has 13 trucks with Amazon. And believe it or not, Amazon may seem like a private company, but Amazon is a huge federal company. They support our federal government. Huge. AWS. I mean, so Crowley, I had one of my students that, he just reached out to Crowley. They said, how many trucks do you have? And you could immediately start subcontracting with Crowley. And again, all of this is to get you some past experience. But for in my opinion, when it comes to trucking, what I've seen is a lot of people. What I like about you that you're doing differently than other folks is a lot of the truckers are in the trucks driving. So it's hard to get contracts and work while you're driving the truck. And I think going back to small businesses as a whole, when you're in the business, it's hard to work on the business. And that's just a small business concept that is really, and to a lot of us that are minorities, it's just, we are workers. We're used to working. We're used to working and being the one that actually makes it happen. In this world of federal procurement, that doesn't work. We have to be business owners. We've got to grow the business. And And so we got to step outside of it. Not saying we can't get our hands dirty if we have to. I mean, look, if I got to go out there and carry a ladder and pick up a shovel, I've done it.
Okay.
Very unwillingly, but I've done it. So I think,
Okay.
for me, if you have all these people that are willing to support you, then I would look at myself really spending my next 3 months understanding the government, understanding the agencies, understanding how they buy the trucking. And I would become the expert in understanding how to put all this stuff together so that you can leverage the people that you have, the relationships that you have, and the connections you have. Because they're not going to have time to get that part right.
Yep.
And there's probably 20 truckers on here now that I guarantee you, if you had all that together, they would come underneath your umbrella and support you as well. But because we're so busy working inside the business, we never have time to actually learn how to run a business, how to grow a business, how to put together a team. I mean, that's something that on my podcast today. Okay, I'm going to ask this question. There's 45 people watching. How many people here that are watching has a board of advisors? Out of all of you watching, all the business owners, how many have a board of advisors or a board of directors? And you'll see, Natia, these are concepts that we don't do. But when companies get like investment from capital and they get all these really sophisticated people come and teach them, that's the first thing they do is they put an advisory group around them to help them make decisions and to help them guide them. And they meet quarterly, and then they look at what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Where are opportunities? You get me? You need help. No one of us is smart enough to figure all this stuff out. So you need a team around you. So again, anybody, listen, all the 45 people watching, let me know. If somebody send me a thumbs up if you got a board of advisors or board of directors. Right. And so these are things that we don't typically do as small business. Because we think we're small, because we think that, right? Like, oh, it's just me, it's just, we got 3 trucks, or even some people have 13 trucks, 10 trucks. It doesn't seem special. But there's people that have 30 trucks and 50 trucks, right? That start out with 3 trucks and 5 trucks and 10 trucks. By the way, someone gave you a shout out. Stephanie says, hey, Nadia, nice to see you up here.
Hey.
Look at that. Look at that. You got a fan already in the audience. Look at that. Look at that. See there? See? Look, I wear every cap in the business. Nope, never even thought about it. So what I would say for you is to really hunker down and learn the space, learn the industry. And again, re-engage yourself with your customers, your old customers, right? Re-engage yourself with people in the different groups. We've had 2 or 3 shows on here with truckers. Demetrius, Chris, right? Do you know that Chris, even though he did really well on his contract, he actually missed out on about, I don't know let me think the number. He missed out on over $1 million in opportunities because he wasn't ready. So we talk about what he won. We never talk about what he actually missed out on.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can see that, right? So because what happened was when the government called, you had to be ready. And the same thing with One Girl, One Truck, is that she wasn't ready when FEMA called her and they said, hey, we need whatever. It's like, I think it was 45 trucks in the next 4 hours to go across. And Mo's on here. Mo, we could talk about Mo's on here as well. So a lot of times we don't have that support system to be able to handle these requests when they come in. But you're saying now that you have all that.
Yeah.
So now it's time for you to go out and connect with some of these people. I'm sure Demetrius would love to connect with you. I'm sure Chris would love to connect with you, right? And find out how you guys can help support them. I don't know why we think that this is a competition like football or something like that.
It's definitely not.
It's nowhere near that. I literally today, and last week I was telling you guys, I don't know if people were on the show listening, but last week I was telling you that I'm on contract that we put together that's $250 million. And look, I just reached out to a company, asked them if they want to be our partner, and they said yes. A year later, we're working on something for $200 million. Most small businesses are too afraid to ask someone to work with them. It's the same advice I just told Gilbert that just left up here. I'm sorry, Chris. I keep saying Gilbert's name pop up. Chris Diggs is the same thing. You know, have you reached out to Demetrius? Have you reached out to Chris? These are good guys. If they're here, just like Stephanie's on my if Stephanie's in here saying hi to you, if they're coming on our platform and they're students of mine, they're halfway decent.
Yeah.
You know, look, I don't know if people do their personal life because I can't call it. Because I'm a little crazy in my personal life too. So I can't call how they do personal life. I don't beat up women or nothing like that. So I don't do that like that. But in terms of business side, you know, we all halfway decent people. So reach out to Demetrius, reach out to Chris, let them know what you have. Mo was on here as well. They're part of a Slack group of truckers that are
okay.
So yeah, I mean, so all of this stuff, we have and again, I haven't been in a long time, but I did stand up a Facebook group for trucking and transportation.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we have a Facebook group for trucking and transportation. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to be in any of my courses to be in it. I just put it together to make it so that we can have another avenue for people to communicate and talk together. So
okay.
I just, I'm trying to create Discords, channels where people can come together and collaborate using me as the high profile guy to kind of putting all of you together so that we can help facilitate contract interactions. We should not be competing with each other.
Yeah, definitely.
We should not be competing with each other. Okay. So listen, so for me, that's will be my homework for you is reach out to these people, jump in that truck and transportation group, look for One Girl, One Truck. She was leading it. And then really dig in on you're going to take care of the SDVOSB part. I know you're going to do that. But while you're doing that, go back in. I have a video that I put on trucking and I did the market research for you.
Okay.
I have a video that I did. Maria, can someone find my trucking video? I did all the market research for you guys on the screen. So I gave you all the agencies and the people you need to reach out to. So I would spend my next couple months just going in and figuring all that stuff out, talking to some of these people, and then you're going to be set up because you have something that most of the 52 people watching. By the way, yes, hit the like button, please. We should have 55 likes. But there's something on here that you have that the rest of the people don't have is they don't have that back end system that you have. So don't take that for granted. Don't take that for granted. That is, you can help a lot of people. You can help a lot of people if you go in and you actually learn this business and you understand it. You can really help a lot of people because all of those folks that can help you, you can get everybody working on good contracts and on long-term vehicles as well. So most of the time, the complaints that I hear from some of the larger contractors for trucking is, the person has 1 or 2 trucks and they want you to have like a minimum of 10.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, I think in your situation, you'll be able to really do some good, given that you can leverage, right, all of that. Look, Maria put it in there. She's put it in the chat, the name of the video. See?
Okay.
Look at that. So, no, listen, thank you. What else? Anything else?
No, that's it. I've been watching.
I want to hear your progress.
Okay, I will.
I want to see 3 months. Let's see, we're January. So February, March, 2 months.
Okay.
2 months. You're going to have your SDVOSB.
Okay.
All right. And you're going to have reached out to the people that came onto my show. Let me know. Look, Nicole keeps saying we're teaming friendly. See that? Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
All right. Same to you.
Thanks. Bye. All right. I love it. I love it. Shacklin says, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. That's right. Oh, King Jr. Yes. That's always the case. That is always, always, always the case. I actually, it's as soon as people can get that in their heads, then that will make all the difference in the world, because you will see the challenges as challenges. You won't see them as problems. You won't see them as obstacles. You won't see them as heartbreaks or painful lessons. I had one of my partners a long time ago. He was in a, by the way, we're still looking for new people, 57 people watching. Shaka, look at that. You quote all my stuff. Wages make you a living, profits make you a fortune. That's right. Amen. All right. My man, Kevin Williams, welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. If you don't know Kevin Williams, he's doing really good stuff, big stuff. In fact, Kevin, I have someone that was on last week I think you should talk to. So good stuff. But yes, going back to that, where is it at? Where is it at? Hold on. Going back to this comment. And by the way, we're still looking for people to come up here on the stage. Let's have a conversation. Maria, can you drop the link in there? Let me drop the invite link. If you want to come up here on the stage, let's talk about where you're at in your business and how we can help you. What's going on? This is your opportunity to talk. Come up here. Here's the link. Click the link and you can come up on stage. But going back to don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. When I was in my 20s and my first partner that was in the GovCon space, he was doing air conditioning repair. And he said that he had his, his books with all his receivables. And so customers will not owe him money. And what he called that was marketing dollars. And instead of it looking at a customer with a bad debt, he said, oh, that's marketing. And so instead of him being upset about someone not paying and, having these 90-day receivables, he chalked all that up to marketing. And so you see the psychology that you have to play with yourself and your brain to really get it in your head that it's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to come your way. It's not supposed to fall in place. It's not supposed to happen overnight. You're not supposed to show up and the first person say yes. I don't know, why do we put that stuff in our head? Because when I think about all of those things, and then for me, I immediately go to, wow, if it was that easy for me, then it's going to be that easy for another person, right? So for me, when I say, oh, the first person you call, they answer the phone, man, I got a meeting. Wow, they gave me a contract. Well, how secure is your contract going to be? Because there's no loyalty. You didn't have to work for it. So what's to stop them, or why would they not do the same thing for the next guy or girl coming behind them? When a person or a contracting person makes it difficult, who was I talking to? Oh, last night, Orlando. Do you guys remember, and that's for my students, do you remember what Orlando said last night on the call? He said when he tries to reach out to someone and they don't talk to him, he said, oh, no. I'm going to get you to talk to me. I'm going to get you to respond to me, right? You see his attitude? It wasn't like, oh my God, dang, this person don't call, this person ain't talk. He wasn't distraught. He saw it as a challenge instead of as an issue. So for me, I think that's the same way that we all should be looking at this, as when these things happen to us, just know that the rewards will be that much sweeter. And if you don't give up and if you stick with it, then you're going to really lament in the success of it. Going back to the story of Chris contract with the trucking, he won that IDIQ, transportation readiness. It was 1 year before they called him for a task order. 1 year. Most people don't know that. 1 year. 1 year. So most of us would have been, oh, this government contract thing don't work. Oh, I got this IDIQ. They're not even calling me. And it's because that it took so long. The people at his company that were supporting him, they had lost their faith. And when it came time that the government needed them right away, they weren't ready to take on all of the work. That's the same thing that happens to most people that I tell all of my students. If you keep at it, right, what's going to happen is one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be overwhelmed with the amount of work and opportunities that they're going to be throwing at you. We have the same situation now with the people that I'm working up north. We're going after 2 IDIQs that are 5 years, $250 million a piece, plus a couple other contracts in the $5-10 million range. We can't do all that work if we get all that stuff. We're chasing it all. But if they were to give us if we were to win both those max plus this $10 million contract, we don't even have the staff to support doing all this stuff. So I always tell people, by the way, Obinna and Charles the Giant, your cameras are not connected. I see you down there ready to come on, but your cameras are not connected. So I always I tell people that be careful what you wish for, because if you keep at this long enough, just like what happened with Stephanie, how many people know Stephanie's story? Where's Stephanie at? Stephanie. Okay. How many people know Stephanie's story? All right. So Stephanie, she got a phone call for a contract and she had to mobilize. And I'm messing up the number, but it was like 30 to 40 people over the week, like in a 3-4 day period. Most of us we're sitting around asking for opportunities, asking for things, and we're not ready to receive them. And Stephanie, she was ready. When they called her, she was ready. She showed up. That contract was supposed to be 3 months. It lasted an entire year. And she did like $1 million plus in revenue on that one contract because she was ready to go when the time came. How many of you out there could say that? That's what this conversation is about today. Are you procurement ready? If someone were to call you today and give you a $500,000 contract or $1 million contract or a $50,000 contract, could you put together your team and pull it off? If I said by Monday, we've got to have boots on the ground. All right. My man Kevin says, line up your best-in-class partners in advance. Correct. This is what we're failing to do. This is what we failed to do so many times. This is what we failed to do. All right, let me call some other people back on the stage. All right. Obinna. We can't hear you.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Hey, man, how's it, bro?
How are you, sir?
I'm fantabulous, man. How about yourself?
I'm not fantabulous, but I'll take it. Where are you at?
I'm actually in Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, here in the great state of Texas. I just joined your deal, man, so I don't even know a lot about you.
Oh, really? You just joined this call tonight?
Yeah, just tonight, first time.
Really? First time seeing me?
Yeah.
All right. What do you do?
So by degree, I'm an accountant, right?
Okay.
But I'm also a real estate investor. I'm a private investor.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my properties that I rehab, I am the GC of them, right?
Okay.
So my question to you is, I've been studying this space, government contracting, for maybe a month or so. Let's just say 2 months, right? Just got approved to bid with Texas Department of Transportation, the city of Houston, and I'm working on the SAM.gov, right?
Yep.
But now I'm kind of not really just confused, but I just want to see what area I can get in, right? So my question to you is, for someone like myself in the construction background, right? Who I do have a team of people I work with, contractors I work with, right? In what space would I go into, right? Now, construction is broad, right?
Yeah. Right.
Texas Department of Transportation, they focus mainly on roads, bridges, highways, and such, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
The only thing that I know that I've seen that I can probably get done is maybe debris removal, right?
Right.
So I'm just trying to figure out what space can I actually fit in without going outside of my realm of expertise. That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if you're doing, if you're a real estate investor and you do, flips and rehab homes, the biggest area in construction is renovation.
Right. But
I mean,
but
that's the, the largest area in construction is renovation. There are several agencies that do small projects that the big boys don't want. So a lot of the bigger contractors, like for example, Maria. So Maria did a lot of work at the Coast Guard base, and because people didn't want those contracts, a lot of the bigger contractors that you think that you're going to compete with, their payrolls, their operating expenses is $2 million a year. They can't go after a $50,000 contract, but that's something that you could do, right? And so anything under 150,000 is simplified acquisition, and they could make those awards directly to you without ever putting them on sam.gov. So for me, I see renovation, and in fact, so I'll take you to another interesting fact that a lot of people don't know. We have companies that we've worked with where, and I think I mentioned this a week ago, because the government doesn't have a lot of money for new construction, they will spend more money to renovate a building than to just tear it down and build it back up, just because that's where the budget is. And so that's why for me, renovation is a big area. Now, if you want to get into specialty stuff, for example, when I did it, I learned steel buildings. So like when I started in construction, I said the same thing you said. I was like, okay, I'm a GC. A lot of people are GCs, right? Like,
right.
They're a dime a dozen. So I actually partnered with this guy who had 30 years experience in steel buildings, pre-engineered metal buildings. And I'm sure at Houston, you got a bunch of metal buildings. So I became the metal building expert. And then I went and became a supplier for Seco metal building systems, Nucor metal building systems, because you as a GC could become a supplier easily, right? So now I brought that to the table as my specialty on the government contract side, and nobody had it. Nobody had it. And so my first contract, when I did the steel building thing, my first contract out the gate was 1.5 million. Because when they were looking for steel building companies, they were hiring contractors that knew steel buildings, but I knew how to do business with the government. And that's what made me unique. They didn't have steel building contractors that knew how to do that also knew how to do business with the government. They were all subs or second tier subs. So they were subs of subs.
Mm. So then in the government contract, what do you call that level of procurement? Is that more of, because I would think that, construction type will be considered maybe service, right?
When you say, what do you call that level of procurement? What do you mean?
What is if I was to look for it, right? Because like you said, I can supply materials if I wanted to, right? Mm-hmm. Would that be, what type of service would that be if I was looking?
So when you start looking, like when you look at construction, there's specific codes for construction. So we have on there, there's a code for renovation. Like there is literally a code for that. So when you type it in 236220, there's a code specifically for construction. There's industrial construction, there's new construction, homes, residential, commercial. There's codes for all that kind of stuff. So once you find the code that corresponds to it, I mean, you'll like all of the projects fall into that. So that's the easy part. And like I said, the challenging part for most small businesses, where do we go to find those contracts? Because even though you're registered at sam.gov, that doesn't mean that they're going to come out in sam.gov, and that doesn't mean that people are going to send them to you because you're in sam.gov.
Right.
And that's where you need some more training and learning and understanding of this. So that's where. But for me, just on your expertise, like I said, the two projects that I'm going after right now, they are construction. It's their 5-year contracts, $250 million, and it's all construction. A lot of it renovation, some of it new construction. The government basically bundles a pool of money together, they pick a select group of contractors, and out of that pool of contractors, we're going to be able to bid. Only us can bid on those contracts for the next 5 years. So,
is that federal?
I only do federal.
Yeah,
I only do federal.
So someone who's wanting to get their feet wet, maybe tread water instead of drowning, what would you consider?
I say federal still.
Really?
I hate state and local. You know why? Because when you say drowning, if someone pays you in 14 days, right, and somebody else pays you in 90 days, which situation do you think you'd be drowning in?
Right.
So that's the problem that people they miss, because they believe that this is easier. Like I said before, the person said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were smarter. It's not that state and local, it's perceived to be easier, but if someone has a balance for your payments of 60 or 90 days, is that really easier? Maybe it's easier to get the work.
That's typical for state and local?
So what I always tell people is that every state's different, right? You're in Texas, right? This is a perfect example. In Texas, do people wear masks or they don't wear masks?
It's not mandated, no.
Oh, okay. So, but you go to other states like DC and New York, right, you can't go in a restaurant without wearing a mask. So the same thing with contracts. The rules are different for Texas. You get me? You can't. There's no swath across the board.
I see.
So what I always encourage everyone to do is, if you're in Houston, go down to Houston, go down to the city, and go participate. They have a board, and ask the questions. Hey, do contractors have problems getting paid over here?
I ask that question.
Oh yeah, because they have small business community boards that are supposed to show you the percentage of contracts per city. You can go; it's public information, and how many of those contracts went to minorities, right? And so they're so quick to point out like statistics. So when you can go in those meetings, they're not. It's not a, trust me, it's not like they're not like a commission meeting. It's a meeting with probably like 20 people. Yeah, it's like a town hall. It's 20 people in a meeting. It's not, you won't feel intimidated, trust me. And you're gonna see a bunch of us in there, and they're gonna be talking about, this contract. And I always say, how many of those people got paid on time? Are you tracking the amount of days of payment? How many people complain about payment issues? Those are legitimate questions to ask. Because I can't speak on Houston, but I can speak in general from my experiences, from what I've heard across the country, and just from my podcast guests, that is typical for cities and states to pay slow.
So I got a question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go for it. Question.
Why you here?
I used to own a trucking company, right, a few years back, and there's this financing company called Riviera Financing, right? It's out here in Texas. Now, I would get let's say I would get a small contract from, I don't know, I would get a load from a broker, right? It'll typically take their broker 3 weeks to pay me. But what I would do, right, I would go to Riviera Finance, right? They'll cut me a check, right? And obviously for a certain percentage, but they will cut me a check, and then they would then go and collect payment from the broker, right? Now, will a government entity do such a thing?
There are people that do. Yes, there are people that do that. Correct. Okay. But you got to remember, we're in construction. Okay, and I know you built your own properties, your own deals, but when you start doing work for other people, our margins are thin.
Of course,
our margins are not like IT margins.
Right.
So you don't really have to operate on thin margins, and then you're going to go out and give it to a finance company who's going to take a percentage of your margins, your already small margins, and then you're going to try to survive off of that just because you don't want to learn federal?
Well, no, it's not even about federal, but okay, so then
I'm just saying, because that's what you give me example. You still going back to that because you don't want to learn federal.
It's not that I don't want to learn. I think it's broad, and then end of the day. So my deal is this. So this is my deal, right? This is a new space for me.
Sure.
Right. and I don't mind making mistakes, obviously, because I learn from them, right? I don't want to make an expensive mistake.
I
You
agree.
know what I mean? Right.
I know. I've made them. I agree.
So, maybe, federal, I looked at federal like, okay, it's a totally different beast out there, right? It's 50 states, that's just how I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? So I figured that, well, maybe state or local, it's it's a lot easier. I can get my feet wet and then I can graduate to whatever, no problems.
A lot of people have that same assumption, and it never happens.
Yeah. What do you mean it never happens?
Because you make that your new comfort, your level of comfort.
Yeah, well, it's depending.
Same people that do state and local don't do federal. They're not the same people.
Right. Depending on what their goal is, though. Right.
How about you make the bigger one your level of comfort, and then you come back down to state and local?
I probably wouldn't, most likely, but
you never, right? You wouldn't do it. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. You wouldn't even do it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it because at that point you'd be like, again, in my life, I would never have the opportunity to go after a $200 million contract at a state and local level in my life.
Really?
How? And at the state and local level, you and I have to qualify. So it means you got to have the bonding, or I got to have the bonding. We got to have the capital. We have to have everything. Over here, I could partner with a company who's just a management company, and they're going to basically be a pass-through to me. I don't have to have the bonding. I don't even have to have money. I could be broke because they're qualifying. You could, at the state and local level, you can't do that because your company has to qualify. That's what those DBE programs are about. You, the minority, have to qualify. You have to have the bond. You have to have the insurance. So they're not even close to the same. You're not going to get any understanding of federal by doing state and local.
Okay,
so everyone listening to this, that applies to everyone. You will get zero understanding of federal by doing state and local. You will get understanding of your business, but you won't understand the contracts because the people at the federal level don't even talk. They don't even know the same lingo that you talk.
Okay.
They don't buy the same way. They don't use the same vehicles. They don't use the same verbiage. They don't use the same acronyms. Nothing. None of it's the same.
I see.
The code is not the same. The procurement training is not the same. None of it's the same. Nothing. Right. They're just a branch of government. But it won't happen. So yeah, no, like what man said, look, we got a course, jump in the course. We've got a lot of people doing construction. So I know you just heard about me, but like I said, jump in.
Yeah, is there a website down here?
Yeah, right here. Right there. GoConnect.com/join.
Oh, okay, cool.
There you go. And this month we're doing 20% off. Coupon code MLK. So next month, I shouldn't say this, but next month, the course, we're going to do probably an NFT whitelist. So yeah.
They kind of think I'm in on that one, man.
Yeah. So Maria, don't forget the NFT whitelist.
This when you I think you mentioned something about there's a mentorship program. I forget the name. Where you can actually partner with
but you have to know contracts first.
I'll have to know contracts.
You got to understand it because it's not a training program. We're not there to train you. You got to understand how to do this business first before we can bring you in and partner you with people.
Oh, is that something you guys do?
I'm saying we have a mentorship program, yes.
Okay.
But in our mentorship program, we're not there to train you. We're there for the goal of growing people's businesses. So you have to already understand how to do this business because the people that you're going to be working with, they're not going to. Yeah, they're not going to. These people are already doing millions of dollars in contracts, so they're not going to be there to train you, and they're not going to be there to pull you along. But they're definitely there to partner with you and say, "Hey, okay, I got this, you got this. Let's go put it together." So, yeah, but no, look, yeah, we got a lot. Listen, we got a lot of free videos, a lot of free content. take advantage of that.
I'll look it up, man.
Yeah.
I'll look you all up.
No,
man.
listen, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, man. How did you hear about us? Just browsing YouTube?
Yeah, I browse YouTube all the time, and you know how, I guess they remember my history. I don't know what it is, but I was looking at some government contracts videos, and then yours popped up, and I was like, oh, live. So I was like, let me click on it. So I was listening for a while, and decided to kind of join and see what your thoughts were about.
No. Again, like I said, I mean, I did steel buildings for a long time. And in fact, 2 years in, I was like the number 5 guy in the country, steel buildings. But the kind of people that I hired they were the same people like the January 6th people that I just couldn't deal with them. It was, hey, look, it was not easy always working with those kind of people, man. It was a tough, but those were the people that worked in that industry. And those were the guys that actually, crawled the beams and put the rafters and stuff up. And so it was, I got business like this, but the people were not, the people that I had employed, they weren't necessarily always friendly. So
real quick before I go, man. So what in your mentorship program, right? And you're looking for experience, right? Or what type of, do you guys go by years, or how many contracts you've done with the government?
But listen, we sell a course. Start off with the course to learn what you're doing. We have a course that you could buy the course and you go through it and learn exactly what you're doing. That's the first thing. Before you get in the course, we have calls with other guests, and so we have other experts come on and speak. A lot of these people that are listening now are in the courses. You could talk with other people in construction and get their 2 cents, and they can also help you. So that's the first thing that I would say, because the mentorship side, our inner circle is for people who have already done, probably a couple $1 million and done some state work, some federal work, that just now need relationships and connections. But in the course, we've got, there are people that are already in that stage that you could talk to. Like the guy coming up next, Charles. Hold on. I'm going to bring him up. Like this guy.
Hey, Charles, how's it going?
Charles.
What's happening, man?
How are you?
Aloha.
Talk to him. Tell him about your experience. Charles is in that course. He can tell you about his experiences.
That stuff sucks. It just sucks, period. That's all.
There you go.
No, Simple Gus doesn't both ways talk about, federal and legal, federal, state, and local government contracts and even private businesses. With the state and local, you got to deal with so many political BS that goes off in the background that you can't control. With the federal, it's straight up. You can't game it. You can't get favors. You can't do any of that stuff. But you do have to do the work. And one of the great thoughts that he puts out in his classes is you're not dealing with the federal government. I think that was Judy Brandt's stuff. But you're not dealing with federal government per se. You're dealing with an employee in the federal government whose butt is on the line every time he makes a decision. So they don't like to make risky decisions at any time, because they're putting their future livelihood, their future promotions, their raises on the line. So they're looking for seriously just competent people, and people that can actually do the job and do it well. That they don't have to be looking behind their back and finding out, oh God, what did this guy do? What did Obinna do? Right. They don't want to be looking at that. And so makes no difference. And now what's kind of interesting, I did a SBA conference a long time ago, and I'm in Hawaii, and we had these 2 white guys and a black guy presenting from SBA with a bunch of Hawaiians in the room. And by the time I was finished, the only people that don't qualify for all those advantages that are out there is basically the white guys in the room. Women, men of color, veterans, disadvantaged veterans. There are just so many layers and levels of capability that's just wide open and looking for you or other people that they need. And but they're not looking at your color. They're not looking at your box that you fill in. They're looking at, can you do the job and can you do it competently? And that's probably the best, most equal opportunity kind of thing that is possible, is that they're looking for competency. I started out the consulting for cybersecurity and IT and cybersecurity, and we're doing. This is on the money. That's funny, but you start off in IT cybersecurity, and yes, there is a good amount of profit in that stuff. But again, what they really want is competent people, because plenty of people talk about doing all this stuff, but doing it and doing it competently, that is a big difference. Huge. We've all seen it in our own lives. So many people that do a crappy job of something, and the federal government, the federal employees do not want to deal with crappy people. They have to all the time. So they're always looking for better opportunities. So they're looking for you. You look like and you sound like a competent individual,
Right?
and they're looking for you, man.
Something
I got it very late.
Something that Charles said, Obinna, that he was a very good point. Because you said you're afraid because the federal government is so big in 50 states. And he said, you're not dealing with the federal government, you're dealing with one person. And that's the truth. You're dealing with one person. You're not dealing with the whole federal government. And that's part of what you have to learn, and that we show you, is that when you get down to it, there's only, there's only a few people that actually you're going to be dealing with, that you're going to talk to about your services. You're not talking to the whole federal government.
Right.
And a little bit extra on top of that. It's not just that you're dealing with one person. Whatever your specialty, I apologize, I came in a little bit late to this. Whatever your specialty is, the person you're talking to, they probably don't know a damn thing of what they're asking for.
That is facts. Facts on top of facts. They never know, because he's right. The person that you're dealing with is not the expert. They just facilitate the contracts, but they do not know actually anything about the work itself, the scope. They're not the actual experts.
So is it typically that simple, right? The lowest bid is the winner, or is it more credibility, or is it familiar work? What's the...
No, it's you demonstrating, like you said, the federal government does not have the ability to reach out to contractors and vendors and say, I want to find the best guy. They only can answer to the people who respond to them. So if you don't respond, then they go with whoever responds. Depending upon the size of the job, there's a whole bunch of criteria. So for example, you've got to meet minimum qualifications to be eligible, right? And then over and above the minimum qualifications, and again, since you're in construction, I'm in construction. If you're talking about smaller projects, then that one is just, like he said, showing you're competent, you're capable, you're responsive. They'll give you a shot because it's something small, right? 50,000, 75,000, 100,000, even 150,000. When you get over to the $1 million range, which again, we're just talking hypothetically, you wouldn't want to start there. But when you get to that range, then they're pre-qualifying you based on experience, past performance. Also for us, accident rates, your OSHA rates, we call it DART rates, TCR rates, your bonding capabilities, your financials, those types of things. So for me, you kind of build your way up to that. And that's what someone just suggested. Why not start off as a subcontractor? So what I do, and what I always tell people, is you could be a sub, and now you don't need bonding. It doesn't matter about your financials. And in the federal arena, there's so many people that need good contractors that they would love to take you on if you show them that you could do the work. You don't have to prove yourself to them the same way you would have to prove yourself to the government. Because there's one thing about being a prime, and there's another thing about being a sub. So for example, the one I'm going after, I'm not a prime. I have no ability to qualify for a $200 million contract. But the prime that I have are going to manage the contract, right? But we do the work. They don't have employees. They have managers.
So how'd you get to that point? You reached out to the prime?
Yeah, I reached out to the company before they became a prime. I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm in Houston, Texas. I'm looking at all these opportunities. I've been doing my research. If you partner with someone like me, I've got boots on the ground, and I've got people that can actually get the work done. Because you're the local expert.
This is the prime you're speaking with. It
wasn't a prime. This was just this was a company that I knew could become a prime. There was no contract. I reached out to them before a contract ever came up. See, one thing we can talk about, you have to get ready for this stuff. So if you do your research and you know things are coming down the pipe because you did your research, now you can go out and talk to people before a contract comes out and put yourself in a position. Say, hey, listen, let's get together. Next year, there's this $30 million, coming out. I've got all the people in place, boots on the ground. I can make it happen. So I already had my agreements in place before the contracts came out. And then when they came out, I was already their partner for these contracts. So for example, the electric charging stations contracts are coming out. These guys went out and already found relationships with people to go after the electric vehicle charging stations. So we are watching the market. We literally watch what the president is saying and say, oh, okay, he's going to spend money on that. Okay, we're going to go find people that can do that, partner with them. And then when the contracts come down, we're in a position to go after them.
So as a sub, you can actually find a prime.
You could find someone that could be a particular prime.
But how would that work? And you would still bid on the deal, or would the?
Of course, yeah.
So now I'm confused, I think.
Yeah. Well, this is again, this is more to ask questions, not to teach you. Charles, hold on. You can stay on. Charles, what do you want to talk about? Hold on. Wait, somebody has a question. Somebody says, how is that not a pass-through? So very good question, Theon. I appreciate the question. It's not a pass-through because remember, in the federal government, and someone dropped that video here, in the federal government, there are certain rules and restrictions about subcontracting. So as long as you meet those rules in terms of the percentage of work that needs to be completed by the prime, then that's not a pass-through. And so again, we make sure that we are compliant with all the rules of the FAR. So for example, in a construction, if it is a general construction contract, 236, right, prefix, then that's 15%. So as long as the prime does 15% of the work, we can do, as a sub, we can do up to 85% of the work. Well, if we look at what we're talking about, if that's $1 million contract, well, if the prime does 150,000, then that's compliant with the rules. I get $850,000 work. I could not have gotten that without that person. That's how it's not a pass-through. But great question. Oh, wait, let me clarify one other thing. And if it's a specialty trade like roofing, plumbing, electrical, right, that's 238. The percentage that the prime must do is 25%. So on $1 million contract, as long as they do 250,000, I can do as a sub up to $750,000 worth of work, and we're still compliant within the rules of the federal government. It's not considered a pass-through. Pass-through is when I just take the whole contract and give it to someone. I do nothing. Remember, they're a management company, so they're managing the contract. They're managing the relationship. They're going to do the submittals. They're going to have a superintendent on the job. They're going to have a project manager overseeing all of the paperwork that has to be submitted to the government. So that management side of the contract is going to cover that 15%. If you add in the management plus the overhead and profit, that's 15%. Good, but excellent question. Charles, what you got, baby?
I'm just actually was just listening in on everything. Because like the first time I've seen this platform.
I know. I decided to try this. I thought it was, it was fascinating when one of my other students, when I was on her YouTube, she did this, and so I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. We could bring people up and talk with them.
Yeah, so I'm going to go offline with you sometime and talk with you about the next opportunity that's coming my way, which is consulting to IT, construction, and professional services. Like mind-boggling.
Nice. Well, I tell you what, Charles, we've got some folks. We've been making some new relationships. And by the way, Kevin Williams, where you at? Kevin, we need to talk, buddy. Kevin, we got to talk. All right. Only because someone reached out to me recently, and you probably know the group, Kevin, but they reached out to me, a private equity fund, looking to put some money into some GovCon businesses. And so I definitely, we're having a meeting coming up next month, and I think it'd be good for you to attend and talk to some of these folks. These guys have big money. You might know Kevin, Clear Vision Impact Fund. So that might not mean nothing to anybody else, but Kevin, you could look it up and see. And if you already don't know, so they reached out to me, and I definitely want to put some people in the room and having a conversation, because like I talked about the previous guy with the MSPs with Chris Diggs, you know, that roll up strategy, I know the people that are doing it, and they're totally backed and funded by a fund that's supported by Google, Amazon, Facebook, all the big boys, you know, the blue chip companies. So there's a lot of money out here for Black and brown businesses, minority businesses, and they're asking about folks who they can fund and help support. So Charles, I'm very interested in what you got. We definitely need to connect and start working on some bigger stuff for you guys, because I need to bring everyone up to 5 million in my courses. And then from there, I take you to 20 million. And then we're going to roll you up into JP Morgan's mentorship program after that.
You know, it's fascinating that you're doing now the NFT stuff, because I've been doing that now for about 3 months.
Nice.
And again, I mentioned this something private mail to you before. I'm still wrapping my brain around a lot of this stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it sure seems like a Ponzi scheme all the way around, but
you know, it's interesting. And we'll talk about that on another show. But
yeah,
you know, if you look at it, I follow the people who, again, and you could, I mean, there's a podcast that I listen to that's called Modern Finance Podcast by Kevin Rose. And if you look up Kevin Rose and Alex Onan, they were the founders of Reddit and Dig, who both became billionaires. They were the pioneers of Web 2.0, right? And so again, they're saying that with Web 3.0, you will not even recognize the web when that comes out. So it always sounds like a Ponzi scheme in the beginning. That's what we all thought about, right? Like, again, if you go back and look at Steve Jobs' videos when he pulls out the iPod and he pulls out the iPhone, and it's just that we don't understand it, right? And I remember watching those old Bill Gates videos explaining the internet to people, and they were like, "What's the internet?" Right? You know, so I don't want to use this time up to talk about NFTs, because we want to do that in another episode. But just know that the same way, again, I was talking about government contracts 4 years ago, and then COVID hit, and then everybody want to know about government contracts.
Yeah. Go figure, right?
Oh yeah, that's probably another thing, is that like they never stop spending money.
The federal government, Obinna, I will tell you this: if when I was doing contracts, and I'm going to close out with this since it's 8:38. When I was doing contracts, and I used to do local contracts, and I used to do state contracts as well. I started out doing that stuff. The market, when it crashed in 2008, 07, 08, I also did real estate. I still have properties, and I flipped homes. Well, you know, they pulled the rug from underneath us.
Right.
Well, there was no bailouts. Hey, there were no bailouts back then. There was no stimulus. There were no bailouts. The only people that got bailed out was who? The banks.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
So you know what happened?
I was a victim, yeah.
Oh, you were a victim? Okay, good. So you know what happened, right? We were doing city contracts. Don't you remember that the states and the cities were going bankrupt?
Mm-hmm.
They could not pay us. And one of my, and I have this story, I mentioned this several times, and some of my people asked me how I got started. One of our best buddies who taught me how to bid construction work, this guy's name's Nestor, and I'm not gonna say his last name. His father was doing $50 million a year in school board work. He built the Speedway. He built NASCAR Speedway in Miami. He lived next to the owner of the Dolphins. Okay, this guy. So all those contracts got pulled. They lost all, like, just from overnight. And then Nestor was doing work for Pinecrest, city of Pinecrest. Anybody knows Miami, look up the city of Pinecrest. That's where all the basketball players live, in Pinecrest. Okay, that's where they got the 30, 40, 50 million. Look at Pinecrest, Miami. He was building the Pinecrest Library in one of the wealthiest cities in Miami. They owed him, I think it was $600,000-700,000. They told him that he would go bankrupt before they paid him, because it was decision between paying contractors and paying for fire services, water, things like that, because the federal government did not bail out the cities. And I remember him telling me that he thought about committing suicide.
Really?
And I remember that his best friend, who was their concrete guy, committed suicide, and he drove his car into a brick wall at like 100 miles an hour. And the only reason my buddy Nestor didn't do it was because he saw what that did to that guy's family. And I remember thinking, if he had just knew about federal government contracts, he could have came over to that marketplace. He didn't have to kill himself. He just had to change who his customers were, but he didn't know about this market. He only knew about the city work and the local work. So when everything stopped and he lost his business, he lost his house. I know people that lived in $1 million house, like $2 million houses. And again, we're talking about 07. So, that's a big joint, right? That they had to move back in with their parents. So it was that was such a hard time that it always stuck with me that the cities, they don't have any mercy on you. And they'll give you a contract. Every hurricane in Miami, every single hurricane, they have contractors waiting 6 months for payments. Every hurricane.
Really?
Every hurricane. Because they don't anticipate this whopping, expense. Right. And so when they come in and have this natural disaster, they got to spend $100 million trying to clean up the city. They got to go cry. What is Mitch McConnell doing now? They got to go when West Virginia happened. Don't they got to go to the feds and ask for money?
Yeah.
You guys don't think about that.
Yeah.
That's to pay the people. The federal government don't have to go to federal government and ask for money. They just print more. So whenever there's a disaster like what happened in West Virginia, whatever happened in Texas, they got to go to the federal government and ask for money to pay for all the services, which are people like me and you that are supporting them, because they're not doing the work. So that's why my conviction will not waver. And I have my best friend in the world does a lot of city work, makes a fortune, but he didn't go through that time. And if the government pulls the rug from all the stimulus, which looks like they're going to raise interest rates and some of this stuff is going to come back, you're going to see the cities start to crumble underneath their own demise.
So if anybody was starting, right, you would highly recommend start federal.
Absolutely. Start federal and learn federal. And then you can you can always work your way down. Because, hey, listen, once you got a bunch of money, you can wait 90 days on your payments.
Yeah.
But if you start now, I don't want to put you in a situation where it's detrimental, because truth be told, I feel as though I'm putting you out there and I tell you to go do these cities contracts and you wait 90 days on a payment and they owe you $100,000 or $200,000 and now you can't pay your other bills or your employees, or you can't pay your contractors. I feel like I'm doing a disservice. I know that the federal government would never do that to you. And I have people right now that have gotten paid in 4 days from the federal government. 4.
Would you say that on that platform is a lot more competitive than your city and state?
Actually, I would say the opposite. The city and state's more competitive than the federal.
Really?
Because everyone has your mindset. Everyone thinks it's easier. So everyone goes straight to that. City and state's way more competitive than federal. City and state's a low bid. They just want low bidders.
Yeah.
It's a race to the bottom. So
but if you're starting out on a federal level, right?
Yeah.
They don't just, like I said before, they don't just consider low bid. Like this is your very first bid.
They don't consider low bid. No, they consider if you competent and capable, like Charles mentioned.
One of the things that Obinna that I remember hearing from Eric was one of his earlier employees who I went back to, I think Argentina or Brazil. He bid on a contract. It was probably a low dollar bid, but he bid on a contract for clay targets for ski.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So tell him about that, because that was an absolutely fascinating story.
What happened was Meb's been on a contract that was clay targets, but what happened was the person that won the contract, they when they delivered the targets, they delivered them. Some of them were broken, and so they weren't servicing the customer very well. And that's the same thing that happened with me in the federal. That's how I broke into my marketplace, is that there are people that, like Charles said, they're not giving good customer service. They're not servicing the customer. They're taking them for granted. So when you show up and you say, hey, look, I'll take whatever contracts you give me. My man said, I've been paid on federal jobs up front before.
Really?
So, when we take and when we go out and we say to the federal government, we sell to the federal human, because we're not talking to the government, we're talking to a specific agency. So whoever's your agencies in and around Texas and areas you could serve, right? Think about military bases around you or VA hospitals, right? Things like that. When you talk to them about being able to show up, be responsive, to be there on time, to do what you say you're going to do, that's bigger than price. Because they have a mission. The cities and states are only price. They only care about price. The federal government actually has rules that says that they cannot use profit as a motivator to negotiate price. And so they talk about that. They have that in FAR. So again, all of these things that you're thinking are all made up. It's all made up stuff in your head. It's completely made up. None of it's true.
So I'm looking at your website here, and I'm going. Should I go to education? Correct.
I don't know how to use the website.
Oh man, well, it's not a bad problem.
What site are you on?
It's an 8-week boot camp on here. Is that?
What site are you on? Which site?
It says GovCallGiants.
GovCallGiants.com. Right. Go to courses, and you'll see a course on there. 3.0. That covers everything. All right. Let's see. I was lucky enough to have a P-Tech News talking about also when you call, be confident, show what you know what you're talking about. Cool. But listen, Obinna, we've got phone number you could call. You could call.
Yeah, I see it, man. Hey, I appreciate you taking my questions, man, and spending time with me, man. I appreciate that. And Charles, I appreciate you as well, brother.
Nah, Charles, thank you for coming up. And Obinna, thank you for coming up, because a lot of people are afraid, By the way, Obinna, make sure Maria just puts you that coupon code if you're going to do anything. MLK, you can't forget that.
Okay.
If you decide to do something. All right.
Yeah, and I'll just call this number here, right? It's,
786-47. Yep. If you have any questions, give that number a call.
Okay, cool. Thanks
all
a
right,
lot,
brother.
Man. I appreciate it.
Be good.
Thank you.
Charles, the man. Gilbert, hit me up on LinkedIn.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, brother? You like
It's
this?
kind of interesting. Well, like I was saying, is that offline I'll probably touch base with you, but I'm kind of finished up with the cybersecurity side of consulting, because they're done and they're working and moving forward. So then I got an opportunity for doing consulting, like I said, for construction, IT, and professional services, which is a big nut. But I'll play with it and see what I can do. But kind of to what Obinna was saying, I talked with a small contractor and said, yeah, we've done some federal things, but too much work, too much paperwork. I said, no, man, once you got that dialed in and grooved in, it's not that bad.
No.
But you got to get it done and understand all the processes first, which is a kind of a pain in the butt.
No. I mean, like anything else, right? Up front, it's a lot more work. Right. So up front, the federal government's going to be a lot more work than a city or state, because on the city and state, you register and you can bid. Done. But on a long-term value for building an actual business, I have never seen companies that have gone to the Inc. 5000 list or 500 list off of city contracts. Never. I've just never seen it. Kevin, have you ever seen a company that makes it to the Inc. 500 list off of city contracts? I have never seen it. So for me, half of my podcast guests have made it to the Inc. 500 list, 5,000 list, because federal contracts take you from zero to hero, right, with little to no effort. So again, I'm consulting with this company up in Rhode Island. I met these guys who are doing 20 million a year. But Charles, if we win this IDIQ, we'll be doing 40 million a year. I'll double their revenues for the next 5 years.
Yahoo! That's profit in your pocket, baby.
Oh yeah.
And the money is being spent no matter which way you look at it.
No, man, no matter which way you want to chop it up, it's being spent. Hey, 71 people watching. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Follow. Share. We'll probably do this next Wednesday again. So, yeah, go ahead, Charles. We say the money's being spent.
Well, there's always a good conversation. Does the government have money to spend? Well, their checks cash.
Checks cash.
Online, their checks cash. Why are people afraid of talking to you online?
You know how it is. They want it. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me.
I know why. They have too much hair.
Is that what it is? I didn't say.
They have too much hair. They're afraid of you.
I appreciate you anyways. Hey, listen, everyone. Like Maria said, this month we did put up a coupon code for the course. If you don't have it, it's MLK. Also, you will be whitelisted for our NFTs that will be coming out next month. And everyone who's already in the courses, don't feel bad. If you already are a paid member in any of our programs, our courses, you will be whitelisted for our NFTs. So don't worry about it. You'll also be whitelisted as well. So visit the website. Let me put it up here again, just for those people. Make it quick. I made a quick link. And you'll be in a room with people like Charles and myself.
Oh, that's scary.
Here. Go here, goconneric.com/join. That'll take you directly to the page to buy. Rusty says, what's an NFT? Ooh. Rusty, that's
fungible token. Go figure that one out.
All right. Thank you, Eric Maria. The coupon code, Freddie, is 20%. Whitelisted means that you will have the chance to get in on the pre-sale. So imagine when you buy homes and you have pre-construction prices before the homes are actually put on the marketplace. That's the same thing with our NFTs. So you'll be whitelisted. So you'll be basically, they may come out and on the whitelist, we're going to give away so many for free. And then the other ones will be very inexpensive, like $20, $25, something to that effect. But if you're interested in learning more about NFTs in the marketplace, definitely I would encourage everyone to listen to the podcast called Modern Finance with Kevin Rose. And if any one of you knows Serena Williams, which we all know Serena Williams, the tennis player, her husband, Alex, I get his name wrong, Alex Onanes, he actually is the founder of Reddit. So he did an episode recently, and he's now buying NFTs for his great-great-grandchildren. So, like I said, this is going to be yes. Where is it? Hold on, wait. Somebody said it here. Sherry says, always find new ways to innovate. Yes. No, I mean, we want to build a real community, and I'm always, like you said, I'm not afraid to be the first one. And so for me, what I see, Sherry, happening is, once we take the first leap, then we'll be able to partner with other organizations like Hub Zone Council, National 8A, Veterans Business, and also be part of what we're doing in terms of the NFTs. And so there'll be real value because we'll be part of the three largest national organizations on government contracts. And so imagine a four-headed monster going to Congress and ensuring that all of us small businesses get our fair shake at contracts. So yes, definitely. We're in it for the people. We're in it for the long term. I'm not going anywhere. And I want to ensure that, imagine that, if you did the lessons, just so where's this mindset? What's an NFT? Hold on. Where is it at?
Non-fungible token.
Charles, nobody knows what that means.
Nobody does.
Rusty. All right. Not afraid. Dr. Edwin Williams says, not afraid. By the way, Dr. Williams, I did see your comment that you are 8A out in California. So make sure you email Maria. Make sure you reach out to Maria. Leela, thank you for subscribing. Good stuff. By the way, and I always tell people this, look, if I understand if everyone can't afford the course, that's fine. But we do have a membership page on YouTube that starts at $5 a month. And it has probably 25 or so of our previous videos from our members only section in there. So again, if I know the course may be out of a lot of people's price range, and I'm okay with that, but it is a ton of information. As Charles, have you been in 3.0 yet?
Yes.
It's a lot of information.
A lot of information.
A lot of information.
Just started into that area because I'm still going through a lot of the 2.0 and going back and forth on the 2.0.
See, yeah.
There's a lot of little details, and always what's nice about the courses and the for me again the 2.0 is that you go back and refresh a lot of different little details.
Right.
That you kind of, unless you're doing it every day and every second.
I agree with you. And for me, what I've always thought, Charles, was the way I structured it was depending upon where you're at, that's what the information you need, right? So it's not
with the 2.0, yeah, you got, if you're going to be a consultant, you got that. If you're going to be a prime, you got that. You got your subcontract, you're going to got that information right off the top. And what makes sense for you.
Right. And then when you get ready to actually write proposals, then you have that section where we talk about proposals. So no, but yeah, going back to the NFT conversation, we'll wrap this up. On the NFTs, so I'll give you an example. When I first started, right, with my courses, we started off, it was like 197 or 297. Okay. So imagine if that at that time, right, the course was the membership was through an NFT that you could buy and you paid 297. Well, when the course went up to 697 or 997 or 1297, if you in fact already had obtained the information that you needed from the course, you could resell that NFT to somebody for the 997 price. And so you really actually can trade it. You could trade that and have recouped your entire investment plus made money if it was in the form of an NFT. So as the community gets bigger and as we do more things, then the NFT increases in value, and then you could resell it or trade it to other people for other NFTs, for other types of programs that you may want to learn. So that's just an example of how an NFT could have been differently. The reason why people think about them as just pictures, the picture itself, the image, is just like your ticket. It just shows you have a ticket for access into these programs. So your ticket, which is called PFP or picture for proof, is just showing proof that you are actually like a GovCon Giants member, right? And so then if you were to go to an event or you would try to go into a private room, you'd have to show your picture as entrance to access. So that's what it is. But yeah, we'll talk about it on another session. I've been doing a lot of stuff in the space, not just NFTs, trading tokens and coins that are not listed on the primary basis. So a lot of stuff to talk about. Charles, in fact, if you want to talk about that on another session, we could jump on together and talk through that. I think that'd be fun. All right.
Probably the simplest example of an NFT, and anybody can look this up. The 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle gold coin is a minted coin of $20 of gold at the time. It's whatever it is, an ounce or 2 ounces, whatever that amount is. It's now worth $18 million for that $20 original gold coin. It has value that somebody's putting on there, right. And it's expanding over time. Will every coin in the world become like that? No, but that's kind of the idea of what a non-fungible token is. But it's digital.
Right, it's digital. And again, Charles, I look at like any type of collector's items that people have in their house. Right, my parents have collected coins. We have silver coins. We have gold coins. People collect magazines. So, we're all over the place. Baseball cards. Alan White, man, Charles, I'm trying to get off this thing. They keep asking questions. Alan White, my dad's a project manager by trade. He's got 30 years of construction. Want to be able to do something with him? Yes, Alan White, absolutely. You can do something with your father. But remember, your father is a trade contractor. So as a trade contractor, he's the guy probably is going to actually do the work. So you would have to actually learn how to do the business side. And then that way you can help him with the work portion. All right. So for me, just keep that in mind, Alan. I want for all of you listening, 72 people right now listening. I want for all of you listening, I want you to work on the business, not in the business. Please get that through your head. That's the only way that you're going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. You got to work on the business, not in the business. It's the moment that you get in the business, it's going to be hard to see the forest for the trees. So you're just really going to have a hard time growing because you're not going to be strategic. You're not going to be able to partner with the right kind of people because you're too busy working the business. So definitely, that's the thing that I want to go for. All right. Listen, Charles, thank you so much. How do you access the private YouTube videos? It's on there. There's a link on YouTube that says where the membership is. I don't know how to do it. It's on there. Anybody can help? Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, listen, Charles, got to go. Be good. Thank you, sir. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.